So, earlier we talked about the origin of the word Hinduism. Once again, to recapitulate, the word Hinduism is not a Sanskrit word. It is not found in any of the ancient texts of India, such as Vedas or Puranas, etc. Instead, what existed were different schools of philosophy called Astika Darshanas, and 6 of them. The important Astika Darshanas are Sankhya philosophy, which was propounded by a great rishi by the name Kapila; Vedanta philosophy, which was propounded by a great rishi by the name of Vyasa; Mimamsa philosophy, which was propounded by a great rishi by the name of Jaimini; Nyaya philosophy, propounded by Gautama; and Vaiseshika philosophy, propounded by Kanada; and Yoga philosophy, which was propounded by the great rishi Patanjali. What was a collection of all these different philosophical schools and Vedic principles explained in different ways in different texts such as Puranas, Itihasas, etc., was bracketed in this one word called Hinduism, first by the Greeks and later on by the British. Now, during British time, this word Hindu, Hinduism, Hindustan, which came to be another name for India, all these were popularized, and several books were written during 18th century and 19th century, so to speak, imprinting this word Hinduism indelibly on the memory of the rest of the world. In fact, the early British were very enthusiastic missionaries. So, one of the primary focuses in those days of the British Empire was to convert as many of these Hindus into Christianity as possible. So, lot of attempts were made to portray either inaccurately or incorrectly the principles of what came to be known as Hinduism, the principles of Vedas, etc. There was one such book which was published in 1910, which is called The Arsenal for the Christian Soldiers in India, in which the author, who was an evangelical priest from Germany, sent to India to convert people to Christianity, goes through in a lot of breadth many of the ancient texts of India, including Vedas, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, etc., and tries to point out the errors in the principles that were taught by these ancient texts and how the Bible and Christianity seeks to answer those questions or those loopholes in a better way, and why Hindus should convert to Christianity. Many such attempts were done during the time of British colonialism in India, and again the world started confusing between Hinduism and what is called as actually Vedic philosophy, all these different schools of philosophy that came from the ancient Vedas. The first ever yogi to introduce the Vedas, Vedanta, etc., to the West in the proper light was a great yogi by the name of Swami Vivekananda. He came to attend what was called as the Parliament of World's Religions back in 1890s sometime to Chicago, and he talked about what is Hinduism and how the word Hinduism was coined, along with all the historical references, etc., and tried to clarify that there is nothing called Hinduism. It is rather principles of living in harmony with nature, which were embodied in the ancient texts called Vedas. Later on, many attempts were made to demystify and explain this word Hinduism, but West continues to use the word Hinduism and yoga as synonymous with each other. Now, here are my thoughts on this. If there is a religion which is bold enough to stand up and say, I am divine, Aham Brahmasmi, and does not put me down saying that I am a sinner, I would say let us have more of such a religion. If a religion stands up and says that Tattvamasi, you are God, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, all this is divine, and therefore love everyone as yourself, Atmavat Sarva Bhutani, I would say we need more of such a positive religion. If a religion stands up and says Ekam Sat Vipra Bahudha Vadanti, the truth is only one. The sages speak of it differently. Brahman or the divine is like a huge ocean. One wave rises here and it is called Krishna. Another wave rises there and it is called Christ. Yet another wave rises there and is called Muhammad. But whatever may be the case, ultimately God is one. If such a religion exists on the face of the earth, I would say we need more of such a religion. Now, in the interest of clarifying if yoga is a religion, I am going to address certain questions. First thing to note is that in modern times, yoga is interpreted as union of the individual self with the universal self. Now, strictly from a yoga philosophic viewpoint, there is nothing called union between individual self and cosmic self, what are called as Purusha and Ishwara in Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, because Ishwara is said to be a very distinct Purusha, and there is no union between the Purusha and the Ishvara. Therefore, union between individual self and cosmic self is not strictly in accordance with the yogic philosophy. It is rather a different school of philosophy called Vedanta. That being the case, whichever God you believe in, you can believe that God to be the Ishvara for you. So, if you are a Christian, you believe in Father in heaven, then Father in heaven is going to be your Ishvara in accordance with yogic philosophy. If you are a Muhammadan, you believe in Islam, you believe in Allah, then Allah is going to be your Ishvara. Thus, yoga philosophy does not have any conflict, any contradiction with any religion. It being a philosophy, it welcomes all religions, it embraces all schools of thought, and it treats all of them with equal amount of love and respect. Now, there may be organizations belonging to other religions which are watching their followers and telling them that, hey, if you profess to be belonging to our religion and you are practicing yoga, beware, there is a hot and inconvenient place waiting for you. But from the yogic philosophy viewpoint, yogic perspective, there is no such organization. No organization is watching the practitioners of yoga and telling them that unless you believe in this thing, you are going to end up in a very hot and inconvenient place. This is a very welcome feature of yoga.